Doc Henson with you today. Today, we're not on the firing range. We're not actually going to shoot any guns, but I am going to show you a nice scope that I had on the Marlin 22 that I had on the 795 video that's already been published on the channel. If you ain't seen it, go check it out. It's a good rifle. You can see this scope on that rifle. It actually still has the rings from that mount setup. Just going to tell you a little bit about this scope in case you're looking for a good 22 scope. It's a Bushnell AR optics. As you can see right there, AR optics, AR 22 rimfire. It is calibrated for the 22 long rifle. And I'm not sure if I can, it's going to be probably too hard to get a view of that reticle, but it's got the drop down dots on it as all the other AR optic scopes. And if you sight the scope in at 50 yards, that'll be right on the crosshairs, and you have 3 dots under that. And matter of fact, I can actually show you right here what it will look like. That's how the reticle looks, and 50 is the crosshair, and then 75, 100, and 125. Now when I sighted this scope in, I didn't use that. I just sighted in at about 15 yards, and that works pretty well out to about 75 yards, and that's where I shoot at normally on the range with the 22, so that works out good for me. I'm gonna go ahead and show you here. It's a 2x7, or not 2x7, but 2-to-7 power by 32 millimeter objective lens here. 32 millimeters. I really like the fact that it goes down to 2, and then 7's plenty of magnification for a 22. I know we've hit some clays at about 150 yards with this scope mounted at the 7 magnification. It zooms in on that clay pretty well. A nice thing also about this scope is it has the parallax right here, if you can see it. You can turn it to whatever yardage you're shooting at, and that really takes the parallax out of the reticle. And what parallax is when you look through the scope, the crosshairs can move side to side. And you don't want that. I can almost get you a view there, but you can't see the dots. It's so blurry. It comes with your normal box. You got your little lens covers there. You get your cloth and your manual. And the rings I used were these here. The Weaver Quad Lock. I think I got them at Walmart. They were like 10 bucks. But I've had it on there for a good while. Probably shot at least 1,500 rounds through it. And these are pretty good rings for the money. I mean, they're not, expensive rings or anything, but for what I'm doing with this 22, it works fairly well. It does the job. Another nice thing about this scope, once you sight it in, you can actually take this screw out here on the top and then turn this and get it back on 0. So if you want to change after that, you can just go back to 0 and put that red dot on it, so you're good to go. As far as durability of the scope, I haven't had any trouble with having to re-zero it. It's been zeroed once, and I kept it on the rifle the whole time, and I haven't had to re-zero it any. I was worried about the fact that it's a 22 scope, if it wasn't going to be as durable as the other Bushnell AR optic scopes, since it is only for a 22. But I called Bushnell. Bushnell told me that this is the same quality scope as all the other ones. I have another one on my channel. I think it's the 3 to 9 by 40, and I did a torture test with it, and it held up very well, and didn't ever break and didn't ever lose 0. And I didn't do a torture test with this or anything, because it was just on my 22, and I mean, I wasn't really worried about trying to break the scope. But it feels, it's fairly heavy, even though it's a 22 scope. I mean, it's got some heft to it. It feels pretty durable. And I mean, I've dropped my rifle a couple times, you know, and it gets banged around and it hasn't lost zeros. So, I mean, that speaks for itself there. And if it's made like the other ones, I have no doubt that you could put it on any rifle and it would shoot just fine. Or the scope wouldn't shoot, but the rifle would shoot just fine, and the scope would hold zero for that rifle. And the only thing that wouldn't work is the ballistic drop dots would not be on for another rifle. So if you did that, you'd pretty much just have a scope where you want to look at the crosshair, and that's about it. Unless you could you could do this, you could shoot your rifle at certain yardage and configure it with the dots in the scope, but you would have to go through some work and some ammo to be able to do that. And it would just be better to get another scope calibrated for the rifle that you want to use. But it's a great scope. I think I paid right at $100 for it. Pretty good quality for the money. It's withstood 1,500 rounds at least, so good to go. I just wanted to let y'all see the scope and give you my impressions on it and my opinion on it. And if you need a good 22 scope, I recommend it. Y'all have a good one, and thanks for watching my channel.